This is my 1991 two-wheel drive hard body. It's got the KA24 engine in it, and I bought this truck in the summer, late summer of 2012. It was a column shift automatic, and it had a bench seat in it, and it was basic as basic can be. I don't think this truck even left the factory with a radio in it. It had a ladder rack on the back of it. It was a work truck. It came from California, and they brought it up here. Why, I don't know. Then they drove it till the fuel lines and the brake lines in the back rotted and split. So I bought it, replaced all the fuel lines on it, and then drove it for a couple thousand miles. Then the transmission blew up. So I ended up switching this thing to a 5-speed manual transmission, using a junkyard transmission. Of course, the clutch was new. The flywheel is actually off of a spare engine that I bought off of Craigslist. It was a 4-wheel drive KA24, and that came with a transmission attached to it, which is actually the transmission that is sitting in the black rallycross truck that I'm rebuilding. So new parts on that was the clutch itself, slave cylinder, and the hosing. And the master cylinder for the clutch, but everything else was junkyard in there. It's mostly stock under here for the time being, but this is the poor man's cold air intake that I told you guys about that is on the green truck. It's also on the rallycross truck, and I found one at the junkyard and bought it, and it's now on the red truck. Pathfinder front end, grill, headlights, marker lights, that's all junkyard stuff. I was able to locate a radio antenna delete, although this truck never left the factory with a radio in it, so there was no antenna. They drilled a hole in the original plate and put an aftermarket antenna on there, and then left the radio just sitting on the floor, basically. So I came across this at the junkyard, and I had to have it because I took the radio out. It was so shitty that I figure I'll redo it someday, and I don't really listen to the radio, so no need for an antenna. These wheels, I don't know what vehicle these wheels came off of. I think it came off an Isuzu or something. Craigslist. Junkyard Fender Flairs. These are two-wheel drive fenders. I have four-wheel drive fenders that I'm going to be putting on this winter. But yeah, Fender Flairs, rear fender flares. She's getting a little crusty in areas, but you know what? Don't care. I get a lot of questions about the roll bar. I bought the roll bar off of a Ford Ranger, and it bolts right in nicely, and I got it at the junkyard. I paid about scrap price about this was about $10. These are door panels off of a very base model truck, even more base model than what this truck was originally. And the reason I like these panels is because you can see the red paint here. It gives it a little color inside. All the other door panels seem to come all the way up to the window, and those are nice, but I saw these and I was like, wow, these are in good shape. So I bought pretty much the entire interior off of the truck that was in the junkyard. I bought the vinyl floor cover that came out of that truck. Door panels came out of that truck. This is obviously not the original steering wheel. I think that the steering wheels that these trucks had at this time were ugly. So I found a steering wheel out of like a 94. That is a junkyard speedometer cluster. I wanted a tachometer, and so I found a 92. That was plug and play. That bolted right in. What else? Shift boot is junkyard. I came across these Pathfinder bucket seats probably about a month ago, and they were a good deal. They just need to be washed up. Otherwise, they look pretty good, and they're very, very comfortable. Much more comfortable than what I was driving in, because those were kind of broken in, and you would sit like on the floor. Center console out of a 1996 and newer truck. Not in the best of shape, but you know what? I like it. It works. What else? Let's go back behind the seat. This carpet is out of a king cab. I got all the pins for it and everything, so the carpet's there. I also got the bracketry for the rear speakers. That bolts into the back wall here. Not all of them do that. I think they changed these cabs in like 96 3 or something like that, where the upper bolt doesn't exist anymore. There's no hole for it. So these speakers are here, they're wired up. I just got to get a radio in them, and I grabbed the wire harness out of the king cab that goes underneath the seat that powers these speakers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this all the way up to the front, cut this you know, connector off, and hardwire these speakers right into the stereo, and then I'll have rear speakers. This is the finishing trim. If you do the carpet, you want this, and if you do bucket seats, you want the carpet, because otherwise you'll see the back wall and it's not the prettiest. Even though it's color matched, it's not the prettiest thing there. So that finisher's out of a junkyard truck, junkyard truck, junkyard truck, junkyard truck. The whole interior is basically junkyard truck. So I wasn't kidding. I'm just giving you a heads up on what I've done so far, because a lot of this has already been done. Obviously, you guys probably noticed the steering column was blue. When I switched it from stick to, or from auto to stick, it still had a big old slot here where the column shifter used to be, and I didn't like it, so I went out and I bought this. I got to paint it. I'm going to paint it black. These are all things on the list to do that I just haven't really gotten around to doing. So when I did the transmission swap as well, it needed a clutch pedal. So I went to the junkyard and I bought myself a clutch pedal. And since the automatics have a huge brake pedal and I didn't feel like cutting it down, so I went to the junkyard, bought myself a brake pedal. I just took a measurement of the original torsion bars, which measured out to be about 22.5 millimeters, give or take a couple tenths, about 22.5 millimeters thick. I have a heavy duty frame from an 86.5. This goes way back when I bought the truck off of a guy on Craigslist. Parted the whole truck out, kept the pieces I liked, obviously. And I believe the heavy duty trucks have a thicker torsion bar. So I'm going to take those torsion bars out of that truck. And if they're thicker than this, obviously this is going to get the heavy duty torsion bars. These Altezza taillights I found in the junkyard, and they were like 10 bucks, 15 bucks for the pair. So you got that. That's a junkyard class 3 hitch. Came off of a 4-wheel drive. I think I paid 20 bucks for that. These calipers are off of the green truck. They're the original ones that the green truck was running the autocross with, and they're still good. So I slapped them on. I put new brake hoses on, and those are KYB gas adjust shocks that were originally on the green truck. You guys watched me install those in a previous video. Those are actually, these stripes are actually from a Datsun ST graphics package, and it was brand new in a box. Like, it had the Datsun name on it, Datsun part number, and it was for dealers to build ST trucks. The only thing that was missing from the kit was the actual ST logo that used to go here on the, and these are for 720s, by the way. Oh, Datsun 720s. They'd have a little triangle here with the ST on that. Somebody took that out of the box, but they left all the stripes. And, you know, I'm not going to waste it, so I just cut them up and slapped them on there and said, hey, it's very 80s, and it's kind of cool. So I went with it. So once again, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, criticism, although it has to be good criticism, just telling me that my truck is shit, and then not backing anything up is not really good criticism, and I will probably just delete you. But if you say, hey, it'd be better if you did this, or hey, I'd like to see that, or hey, there's a better way to do this, I'm all ears. I don't claim to know everything. I'm learning. But anything that I do learn that's solid information, I will take that and I will write it up into an article, and I will post it on infamousnissan.com. My username there is Foul Mouth. I'm one of the moderators, and I've written a few different threads about information on these things that it's really hard to come by, and only I was able to learn through trial and error, you know, feet to the fire kind of thing. So there's a lot of things I know that works, there's a lot of things I know that don't work, and there's just a lot of things that I just don't know, period. You know, if you're going to critique it, you know, bring something to the table. If you're going to tell me it's just shit, then show me what you got. That's pretty much it. If you ain't got nothing, then don't say anything. Just you know, carry on. Just let me do my thing and I'll let you do your thing. But if you got something that's going to work out for me, as I said, all yours. Anyways, part 2 coming up. I got more things coming up, and then as soon as the snow starts falling, this will be inside the shop and we'll start tearing this thing down, and I'll teach you guys how to do ball joints, how to do control arm bushings, wheel bearings. We'll get all that done, so when it comes time for you guys to do that on your trucks, you'll have some kind of guide on how to do it and how not to do it. Sorry I'm rambling on for so long. You guys enjoy and have a great day.